South Point is also proud to provide a variety of relaxing amenities for the guests who want to be pampered. Soak up the sun and let your stress melt away in our lagoon-style paradise swimming pool. A relaxing getaway where you can bask in the desert sun and enjoy seasonal food and bar service poolside. And if you really want to escape, come to Spa Costa del Sur. From couple suites to a co-ed wet area, our spa caters to business and leisure travelers who want to unwind and elevate their senses. A visit to one of our spa's steam, sauna, or whirlpool treatment rooms will leave any guest feeling like they can take on the world. Our gaming amenities include over 60 table games and over 2,600 of the most popular slot and video poker machines. We have penny slots, including the popular Buffalo games, and real machines like Wheel of Fortune, Triple Sevens, and Megabucks. If you prefer video poker, try Deuces Wild, Double Bonus, or a variety of multi-denomination games. Or try your hand at one of the most popular casino table games in the world, Blackjack. Don't let the game intimidate you. Blackjack, also known as 21, is both easy and fun. And our dealers are always happy to assist. And the best part? Blackjack always pays 3 to 2. Next, check out the roulette tables. Roulette is one of the easiest casino games to learn, and so much fun to play. It's a favorite of both beginners and seasoned players. In addition to blackjack and roulette, our casino pit features over 60 popular table games like Baccarat, Pai Gow Poker, 3-Card Poker, Ultimate Texas Hold'em, and Mississippi Stud. So get out of your room and come join in the fun.
Happy New Year's Eve from everybody here at the South Point studio. You get 1 full hour of Sports by the Book today with myself and Kenny White. A lot of college football bowl games to get to. We've also got more NHL, and we've got college basketball potentially. So thank you so much for being here with us. Thank you, everybody who has supported us for the entire year. Looking forward to another great year. Tomorrow it will be myself and Jeff Parles here at 9 a.m. to go over the 3 playoff games. But let's get into it. It's always a lot more fun to go over the whiteboards when we have a winning day. Yesterday was a great day. Pretty easy over for you with the Lions and the Niners. Lions definitely did not take that as a meaningless game. They do get the win, now have 14 on the season. And Winnipeg Jets, we talked about this one a lot between the both of us. They should have been a much bigger favorite over the Nashville Predators. We get a nice, easy 3-0 win there. So there
Good morning,
they are.
Alex.
Good morning.
Yeah, you're right. It is much more fun when you give out winners, obviously, and that's what we're trying to do. But it's tough to do. But you grind through it, and at the end, you make money. You just got to manage your money right. But a nice 4-0 day for me yesterday too. And you had
5-0.
Well, 5-0, yeah. Count the 5-0 because the dog of the day on punchlines. Got lucky on that because the game I had circled,
Yes.
Iowa plus the points, disappeared, and it started before the show, so I couldn't give it out. So I said, well, how about Winnipeg minus a puck and a half because I think they're going to win by more than that. 3-0. 3-0. I'm still amazed with that line, how that line could be what that line was.
Something to keep track of to see if we can fade the Nashville Predators against other teams moving forward.
In the afternoon, I thought, what am I missing? What are we all missing?
Yeah, the three of us. And Pete White as well.
So I went back to look. I said, well, Saros must be playing out of his mind the last game or two. He must have just stopped 40 shots and they must have won a shutout. And I went back and looked at his numbers, and in December, he has a .388 goals against and a .877 goals against percentage. He's playing horrible, and they're betting on him, and the team can't score. I have no idea. So I went, oh, wait a minute. We didn't look at revenge. We didn't look at revenge factor. Maybe there's a huge revenge factor for Nashville. Nope. Nashville won earlier in the year, and last year they split out 2-2. There was no factor whatsoever in this world to bet on Nashville. It just boggled my mind. And, when it looks that good, sometimes you get scared.
Yeah.
Like I said to you, it'll be 3-0 after one, but it was 3-0 after the game.
Yes.
So happy when we do win those type of games.
Another good day in college basketball too. You did have Houston minus 11.5, and San Diego minus 1 at home. I threw in Iowa State as well. You were nervous about that 9.5. They did win by 10, but I am glad that I just did a money line parlay there with Houston, Iowa State, and Winnipeg.
Yes, Iowa State still covered.
Iowa State still did cover, yes. So good day. Let's have another good day today. We have a few bowl games on deck, including the Fiesta Bowl, Penn State and Boise State. We did cover that yesterday, but we will briefly talk about what we talked about and which way we are playing that game. But let's start off with Alabama and Michigan. If everybody remembers, these two played last year on New Year's Day in the semifinals. Ultimately, Michigan beat Alabama and went on to win the entire thing. Two different head coaches, though, and we've seen a decline in both of the programs in their first years. But we've got to really break down this game. Alabama is a pretty big favorite here, 16.5, and the total 45.5. Now, if you've been following college football all year long, you know the struggles that Michigan has had offensively. They have been through 3, maybe 4 quarterbacks. It will be Davis Warren getting the start today, who did do better. He was playing quarterback when they did have that big upset win over Ohio State. And then Jalen Milroe is supposed to play on the other side for the Crimson Tide. What are you doing with this one? Is there anything that we can do to bet on it?
Yeah, I broke this game down every way I could, and reading as much as I could. And I kind of found that I think these two head coaches may not like each other because some players have transferred. Alabama gained a player that was supposed to go to Michigan. Maybe it was a freshman, and he changed his mind, and now he's going to Alabama. But 2 Alabama players have hit the transfer portal, and they're both going to Michigan.
Wow.
Second string running back and second string defensive lineman. Both played a lot, though, because these guys get playing time. So my first thought was Alabama's not going to like this. Michigan probably doesn't like Alabama in the first place. And then you got the revenge factor from last year for Alabama, losing 27-20. I have Bama 11 points better. The number 1 tight end for Michigan is out. So this is an offense that can't score, and now your best player's out. This is like the Kansas City Chiefs, and they're struggling offensively, and Kelsey's making all the plays, and then all of a sudden he's out, and he's no longer in the lineup. This kid's that good. So I made the game 13.5. It's gone from 10 here at the South Point to 16.5. My total 41. I went under 45.5 this morning. I just looking at the numbers on my sheet, everything screamed under. Alabama is 5-1 under their last 6 games. Michigan's median score is 20.5 to 20.5. But against the 4 best teams on the road, Washington, Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio State, the final score, they lost 20.5 to 14, 34.5 points. We know the defense is very good. I've got them ranked 8th in the country. The offense 29th in the country, and that's with their starting tight end. So without him, they're probably like the number 40 offense. Alabama's number 6. And Alabama on the road came with some higher scoring games, but that was Wisconsin, who couldn't stop them, Vanderbilt, who couldn't stop them, and LSU. Oklahoma resembles Michigan, I think, a lot, and Alabama lost that game 24-3. Jalen Milroe has not been the same guy that we saw last year. His completion percentage is the same. Yards per pass down just a little bit, 10 to 9.2. His touchdown to interception ratio is nowhere close. It was 4-1 last year. It's 1.5-1 this year. And his last 5 starts, he's 12 for 24, no interceptions, 186, no touchdowns. 12 for 24, 186. Davis Warren, the starter for Michigan, his last 5, 13 for 23, no interceptions, 137, 1 touchdown. So between the two guys, they're going to pass for 300 yards. Where are the points going to come from in this game? You know, I made a big case for an under last week. There was 2 INTs for touchdowns, and the game still barely got over. It went into overtime. but there was a chance for it actually to even stay under, even with those 2 interceptions. But I hope that doesn't happen here. If these two teams just keep slugging each other and punting, I'll be extremely happy.
I will say that is a good comparison with Michigan and Oklahoma. I did want to check, though, and Jackson Arnold was playing in that game for the Sooners, and they were much better with him. And so that helped their offense a little bit. Still young sophomore, so not much experience for him in going up against a big team like Alabama. Did you say Davis Warren had no interceptions in the last?
That is his median.
That's his median.
I think two of the 5 games he did throw interceptions, and I think either 2 or 3 in one game.
2, yep. He had 2 against Ohio State, and he had 1 against Northwestern.
Yeah, I saw that. Amazing. They won the game 13-10, and he threw 2 interceptions, but Ohio State lost 2 fumbles, I think, in the game. The turnover battle was even in that game. The one thing I wanted to make a case for Alabama, but I kept looking at a performance rating and a plus minus. They were minus 8.5 to my number in their road games, where Michigan was just minus 2. Michigan did play better down the stretch. Both teams covered 4 of their last 5. So 16.5 is a big number when I think points could be at a premium in this game. And I went through Kalen DeBoer. I wanted to dig deeper onto him to see if he's really a good coach. What you looking at? You're pointing at something.
Is this game? Did this game already start?
9 a.m. Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah, no, they kicked off. It was a 9 a.m. game. So.
I thought that might have been a replay, and then I see Kalen DeBoer on the sideline.
Right, sack. There we go. And now punt. That would be nice.
Well, we'll check for some in-game while we're doing the show as well.
Yeah, well, the total has dropped now, I'm sure.
Yes.
It's probably 43.5.
All right, well, let's keep it moving. Ironically, I do have Alabama 11 here, neutral site, so I guess I have them 11 points better than Michigan to end the season as well.
You talk about in-game, I wanted to let you know, I was thinking about it the other day and I've never told you, but the professional bettors, when somebody punts and it's inside the 10, they automatically make an over bet because it's inside the 10 and you could get a turnover.
Okay.
If they get 1 first down, they start betting it under now.
Wow.
Just the field position.
Right.
That they think, something can happen because you're inside the 10, fumble, interception, sack, you can get a score. But once they get the first down, the offense has a little confidence. They move the football out of the danger zone into, the 25 or 30. Now they bet under because now they know the team's got 70 more yards to go to get a touchdown.
Okay, good. I'm glad you told me that.
Follow that because that does work.
And everybody else who is watching.
Is there people watching?
Yeah, I think so. Oh. We'll check in with the chat.
Vince is, and he's
very, very soon. I do just want to say there are whispers that Jalen Milroe will be looking for other schools.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yes.
So maybe he's not fitting Kalen DeBoer's offense. That could very well be. He did not have the year this year that he had last year. I went back. I told you I went to dig on Kalen DeBoer because when a coach isn't at one place for more than 3 years, I always question whether he did it with the other guy's players. And he was at Fresno for 2 years, about a year and a half, and then he was at Washington 2 years. Now he's at Alabama, and Alabama averaged 12 wins a year the last 3 years, and they only have 9. So it was a drop-off. People were not happy with Kalen DeBoer. I went back to look. This guy was a great athlete. He played at a small school, NAIA, Sioux Falls, was the number 1 wide receiver for the football team, broke all the records, and he played baseball. He was the left fielder in the baseball team, and he had great baseball stats. He played 2 years of independent minor league baseball. Wow. He played 2 years of indoor football. What does that make him a coach? No. And most of the time, great athletes don't become great coaches, but he's a small school guy. He didn't play D1. He wasn't that great of an athlete, but he was at his level. But anyway, he took the offensive coordinator job at Sioux Falls, where he played football under his legendary head coach, Bob Young. And he was there for 5 years as an assistant. And then Bob Young retired. He took over the head job, Kalen DeBoer, and he went 67-3. 3 NAIA national championships. Of his 3 games, 2 of those were in the championship. If he would have won those, he would have won 5. That was his only losses those seasons, was the championship game to the other national power in NAIA. And then he didn't get a head job right away. He spent 5 years at 3 different schools, offensive coordinator. I know he was 2 years at Fresno. Then he went to Indiana, and he did a great job at Indiana, his 1 year at Indiana. And that Fresno hired him back. Their head coach was the Cal head coach, had some health problems, and he had to retire. So they brought Kalen DeBoer back, and he did very well. He improved the team, went to Washington, and I was thinking, Doug Peterson was at Washington, and he was a great coach, and he coached that team up, and they were very good. But then when he retired, Jimmy Lake took over, and the program went downhill. They fired Lake, they brought in Kalen DeBoer, and all Kalen DeBoer did in 3 years, 37-9.
Yeah.
He did a tremendous job there after, the cupboard wasn't bare, but they weren't doing well. He had to change, the team's mentality, and he did. And I think he'll be just fine at Alabama.
Very good. Culture, I think, is a word that you're looking for too.
No, he changed the culture back. He changed the culture back to a winning culture, which probably wasn't real difficult to do, but some guys have a hard time doing that.
You brought up his last stop, and that is Washington, and that is the next game that we have coming up. And Jedd Fisch went from Arizona to Washington after DeBoer got the Alabama job. It's been a little bit of a struggle for him here, but we know he is a good coach as well. They're playing Louisville. This is an interesting one because neither of them will have the quarterback that we saw for most of the year. Tyler Shuck had a very good year for the Cardinals. And then Will Rogers, starting quarterback for Washington for most of the season, he was benched, didn't play their final game. Dedmon Williams ended up playing that one, and he will start in this game. So it's almost a pick 'em. Washington -1 and the total 50.5. I did make this 54.5, and I have Louisville a much bigger favorite, but there are a lot of factors and a lot of players who will not be playing in this one for the Cardinals.
Yeah, I went over this morning, and there are, and I was shocked to see the line movement on this game. South Point opened Louisville 2.5 down to pick, but Circa had it 6, Louisville 6. And when I started doing the coaches, Jedd Fisch, I'm still questionable about him. I haven't dug deep enough on him to know if he was at Arizona for 3 years, and they did well the last year, and then the Washington job came open because DeBoer left and Fisch got the job. He went 6-6 this year. Jeff Brom, I know he knows how to coach. He was a quarterback at Louisville, played in the NFL, was a offensive coordinator, then got the job at Western Kentucky, and he went 30-10. Then he got the job at Purdue, and we know how bad Purdue is right now. He turned that program around, and he improved it year in and year out. He left Purdue to come back to his home school, Louisville. Even though Purdue was a bigger job, he came back to Louisville, and he's 18-8. I think he's an outstanding head coach. He's put together a really good football team. They're a top 20 team. I would make them a favorite over Boise State and probably a pick 'em with Arizona State, who are playing in the national championship picture. So I really like him, but Shuck, that's how you pronounce it? Shuck doesn't look like. I always put an SL, but it's an SHOUGH.
There is an actual tweet from him that quotes it Shuck. Yes, with the CK.
Well, he's not playing, personal reasons, and there is a drop-off, but their backup quarterback has shown he's a senior. He's a pocket passer. He fits Jeff Brom's offense perfectly, and he started as a freshman at Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
So he was a highly touted kid, and he's going to run the offense today, and I didn't have his name in front of me here, but I didn't write it on my sheet.
Harrison Bailey.
Yeah. And I knew that name. I just couldn't remember where what did I say this morning? I took a shot at where I thought NC State.
NC State.
They must have had a basketball named Harrison Bailey. But he was at Tennessee and started as a true freshman. Got playing time as a true freshman, did not as a redshirt freshman. Then he transferred. He was here at UNLV.
For 1 year.
1 year at UNLV, then he transferred to Louisville. So he's put his time in. I think he's ready. I think he's going to have a big game. I really do. Washington's quarterback is exciting. I like the game over, but I like Louisville. I'll take Louisville. There's money for Washington. The book needs Louisville badly.
Yeah.
I don't see any reason for betting Washington. I really don't.
Often
there's
these
ones.
These numbers go a little bit too far with these bowl games and thinking that you have all of the information, right? And bettors diving in. I mean, yesterday, I swore the game was already over between Iowa and Missouri. People were betting Iowa so much,
Yes.
and Missouri did end up winning that one by 3. So I don't hate that at all. Let's move on to the next one.
Yeah, South Carolina.
South Carolina and Illinois. South Carolina currently the favorite as well, 9 points, total 50 in this one. Looking at our opt-outs, I didn't see. Is Lenore Sellers starting for South Carolina?
Yes.
Okay.
I sure hope so.
Yes. And then Luke Altmaier. So both quarterbacks that we have seen all year for this game.
The only opt-outs that I thought were worth something, Raheem Sanders, running back for South Carolina, who's had a really good year. He's worth 1.5. He's opting out for the NFL draft. Too bad he wasn't coming back one more year for Shane Beamer. And the number one wide receiver for the Illini, Pat Bryant, is out, and I've got him worth 0.5. I wouldn't argue if you wanted to say he was worth 1 point, but because he's in between, he's pretty close to being 0.75 of a point for me. I really like Shane Beamer. The work that he has done, sometimes you worry about sons getting jobs and daughters getting jobs because of their dads. You question them sometimes, whether they are the real deal or not. Did they put the time in? Did they put the work in to be good? And there's been a lot of failures with sons that have in coaching that have not lived up to what their fathers did because their fathers were Hall of Famers. Well, Shane Beamer's dad was a Hall of Famer, but Shane Beamer's the real deal because he didn't jump onto his dad's coaching staff. He coached under other coaches to learn the trade, and he coached under some of the best in college football. I don't have the list in front of me, but I know there's a list of about 8 really good coaches that are Hall of Famers: Steve Spurrier, Lincoln Riley for Oklahoma, and several others. And I love what I see out of him at South Carolina. They won their last 6 games of the year. They're 9-3. He's 29-21. And you mentioned Lenore Sellers, a redshirt freshman quarterback who's 6'3", 242. He's got a cannon for an arm, and he's a great runner, too. He's a dual threat. So he ran for 655 yards this year, second leading rusher, 8.6 yards a pass, 17 touchdowns, 7 INTs. That's got to get better, and it will. On the road, in their 5 road games, give you the teams: Kentucky, Alabama, Oklahoma, Vanderbilt, and Clemson. The median score in those games was South Carolina 28, their opponent 9. They held Kentucky to 6, Oklahoma to 9, and Vandy to 7. Now they did give up 27 to Alabama, and they give up 14 to Clemson. But 4 of their 5 opponents, they held under 14 points on the road against really good schools, all as good or not better than the Illini. So I was really trying to make a case for this team, but I only have them 6.5 points better. And now your number one running back's out. So I made the game 5.5, and it opened 9.5 here at the South Point. It's down to 9.
We did something we don't typically do yesterday, and we did do a teaser for college football.
Yeah.
That did pay off. Is there any value? Because
the total opened 47.5. Here at South Point, it's up to 50, and I have it 54. And the 2 quarterbacks are both good. Sellers can, dual threat guy, and Luke Altmaier has done it with his arm. Luke Altmaier this year, he was originally at Mississippi, 2 years at Mississippi, and then he transferred to the Illini last year, and he fit Bielema's offense. He started all year, second year as a starter, 7.8 yards a pass, really good, and 21 touchdowns, just 5 INTs. He's taking care of the ball. They have scored 38 points exactly in their last 3 games, 38 against Michigan State, 38 against Rutgers, 38 against Northwestern. This offense is starting to click. They can put up points, and I know that South Carolina can as well. Here's South Carolina's last 6 games scoring, and they won all 6, 35, 44, 28, 34, 56, and then 17 against their biggest rival, Clemson. But they put up some points. 4 of the 6 games, They put up 34 or more.
Looking at both of these teams, starting with South Carolina, it is a shame. This team could have definitely been in the playoffs. They had that game against LSU, but Sellers got hurt at the end of that game. They lost that one by 3. Mississippi did handle them pretty well, but they were right in that game with Alabama as well. I think they already knew they had 2 losses, though, and I think they could have played a little tougher and actually came out with the win in that one. Looking at Illinois' losses as well, Oregon, Penn State, and then Minnesota. I mean, 3 really good teams. Minnesota really just became a defensive battle that they couldn't hang around in. But, yeah, so this should be an exciting game between these two.
Yeah, I was bragging on Shane Beamer. But the Illini, Brett Bielema, does a great job.
Yeah.
He was at Wisconsin for 7 years, 68-24. And he did so well. Arkansas threw a bunch of money at him. And he went down to Arkansas and said, we're going to play power run football, 2 tight end sets, and we're going to run between the tackles. And they didn't like it. And the SEC beat him up a little bit, 29-34 record. He got fired. He went to work for Bill Belichick for 2 years. And then he gets the Illini job, and he has turned this program around. 9 wins in his 4th year is outstanding. You mentioned the 3 losses. Penn State and Oregon on the road, 2 teams that are in the top 5. And he only lost by 14. He lost by 29 at Oregon by 14, and he lost the turnover battle in both games. Looking at the numbers, Shane Beamer, his road games, he came up a plus 15 for me, a 130.5 rating. The Illini came up plus 6.5. They came up a 116.5 rating performance-wise. South Carolina is almost 10 points better.
Yeah.
I don't want to really tease it down. I'm just going to not mess with my numbers. I'm going to just bet it over because both teams have scored. We talked about bowl games being fun.
Yep.
South Carolina's 5-2 over in their last 7, and the Illini went over their last 3.
Can't hate that at all, and that is where the bettors seem to be taking this game as well. 3 points up from the opener at 47. Couple more. Baylor, LSU. Man, there is a graphic going around about LSU and players from this school in the NFL, and it's insane with Joe Burrow. Then we got Jaden Daniels, so the 2 top quarterbacks, and then the wide receivers with Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Neighbors is having an outstanding rookie year for the Giants. So this is a very good program here. Now they're an underdog, getting 3.5 against a good Baylor team. They really turned it around at the end of the season, and I am not surprised with this total at all, sitting at 62.5.
Yeah, and it's gone up. What did you make it? What was your total?
My total was 65.
I have a little higher. I made it 71. And you're right. It went from 60 to 62.5 here at the South Point. There are 62.5s pretty much in the market. Sawyer Robertson, very good for Baylor this year. Garrett Nussmeier, a solid quarterback. Baylor had gone over 7 straight games, and then they finally went under versus Houston, who we know is a huge under team.
Yes.
And then they pushed the total against Kansas. I actually won that game. I think I was over 61 or something like that. It fell 62.
Yes.
And their median score, 34-30. Median score in their 5 toughest road games, they lost 35-31. The road games for LSU, they lost 30-28.5. So that doesn't add up. That it's 58.5. Doesn't get you over the total, but Baylor's does at 66. And again, it's just a fun game, I think, and they're going to go back and forth and up and down the field and put points on the board. This is in Houston, Energy Stadium, the Texas Bowl. So I did not, on my sheet when I sent it out, I sent out LSU 4. I have them 4 points better. But I think this is, even though LSU has a ton of fans, and there's going to be a lot of LSU fans there, but I think there's going to be a lot of Baylor. There'll be more Baylor fans, more Texas, of the state of Texas fans rooting for Baylor. I think there should be some type of home given to Baylor. And this game opened up LSU 1.5. Now Baylor 3.5. But I still have LSU the favorites. I'm going to take LSU plus the points.
Another thing that I did read though about LSU is they do have a very young offensive line starting today. So both offensive tackles are not playing. They're starters. They are missing a tight end who did declare for the draft. So that might make it a little.
Yeah, let's scratch that. You're right. I'm looking at this transfer portal now, and I've checked all these games, and I guess I just missed checking this one, but they have a couple of wide receivers out in that transferred. Lacey is doubtful, wide receiver. Taylor is going to the NFL draft. Cornerback, offensive lineman Will Campbell. So you're right. There are a lot of guys out there. I'm going to look at those and I'll adjust a line. And that move is probably correct, but I still like it over.
Yeah, you really can't. I mean, even when you were talking about those games, when Baylor started that overrun, 59-35 with Texas Tech, 38-28 Oklahoma State, who really couldn't score this year, still gave up 28 to them, 37-34 against TCU. So as good as their offense got, their defense didn't improve too much down the stretch.
Well, they had a run of the Colorado was 31-31, went into overtime.
Yep.
BYU is 34-28, 62. Iowa State, they lost 43-21, that's 64. Texas Tech, 59-35, they won 94. Oklahoma State, 38-28, 66. TCU, 37-34, that's 71. West Virginia, 49-35, that's 84. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 straight games where their total was over 60 points. That's what we need.
Yes.
That's what they do. So
last college football game for now. We're going to hit on this Fiesta Bowl just quickly. We'll go to hockey. Take a break. When we come back, we will briefly cover the 3 games tomorrow since you will not be here. But if anybody follows Bet the Gambit, you will be doing a show today, 2 or 3 p.m., to really go in depth in those 3 games. And then Jeff Parles and I will go in depth tomorrow for an hour on those 3 big games. And then in 15 minutes, we will have a guest in studio. Vegas Maddie joins us, and we will talk about all the contests going on in Las Vegas. So last game, we've got Penn State. They opened up a 10-point favorite. They're now sitting at 11 here at the South Point. Total has been bumped up to 54.5. Opener number here was 52.5. Now, we talked about taking a touchdown off of our totals for each of these 4 games being a lot more meaningful. I did make this game 48. So leaning there to the under, and I have Penn State 9.5. Not really enough to jump here on the dog. Is this a dog play for you or just the under?
Well, I made the game 10. I have a 10-point difference between the two, and I like to take off 20%. So I really made this game 8. So I am leaning to Boise State. But I took a touchdown off because I think this is such a pressure-packed games, all the 4 games. So I have it 47.5. I've already played the under, went under 54.5. Don't think it's going up any higher. It could. I guess there is a 55 out there. A couple of 55s. Wow. I'm shocked.
People do not believe in Boise's defense.
Their defense is really good. I have them 26th best in the country. I don't know why they think they're bad. They've given up points in some games because they score points so fast. Sometimes Genty breaks off a long run and the defense is back on the field again. I don't think he's going to get that long run today. He may get 1. I broke down the numbers for Genty. The median for him on the season, 31 rushing attempts. Wow. 192, a little over 6 yards a rush and 2 touchdowns. He has 2 receptions per game for 7 yards. The average defense that he went up against in those games, 102.
Wow.
102. There were 2 good defenses. We talked about that yesterday. I figured it was going to be Oregon and it was UNLV. UNLV did a good job on him once.
Yeah.
He had 192 yards against Oregon, who I have ranked 7th best defense.
Early in the season.
Before
Oregon really started to click. But
then at home against Nevada, Las Vegas, he had 206 yards, I think, in that championship game. Went to Penn State. Their defense is very good. 4th best in the country. They played 4 running backs this year that went over 1,000 yards. Jordan James from Oregon, they held him to 12 yards under his median.
Okay.
Woody Marks from USC went over by 14 yards over his median. Jonah Coleman from Washington, 64 yards under his number. Brushard Smith from SMU, 30 yards under his number. So 3 of the 4 1,000-yard rushers that they faced this year, 3 of the 4 they held under their number. And if I took a median on this, That median is 21 yards under the number. So Genty's still going to get, I don't even know what his number is. That'd be interesting to see. How do you make this number? I'm thinking that I'm thinking he's going to get about 120 yards. I don't know if he gets more than that today. The Penn State's going to be ready. They're going to put 7 in the box, and they're going to commit to stopping the run.
We do need to look up his rushing yards. I mentioned this off air to you. I will be talking about it on Punchlines as well. But top 5 leading rushers in college football, Ashton Genty, 2,497. Then Ashton Genty after contact, 1889, and then the next best running back, Omarion Hampton, at 1660. So his after contact, which somebody gave me this note, and I appreciate that a lot, but that's amazing to me, and that's what people were throwing out there when he was in the conversation for Heisman. He's also going for the record, which I don't know how you feel about that now that they count postseason and bowl games, which they did not in the past. So
it is what it is. The Major League Baseball played 154 games when Babe Ruth was playing, and now they play 162. So he may have hit another 50 home runs if you gave him another 100 games. I don't know if he hit 50, but he probably hit 30. Rushing props for the Penn State game. Genty's at 127.5. It's right around where I thought he would be. I don't see any bargain there. I'm hoping that he goes under that. I'm hoping Drew Aller goes under his props.
yes,
And I'm hoping it's a boring game and Penn State pulls it out 17-7. I don't think it'll be that low. Obviously not.
I have a feeling that number will go up throughout the day, his rushing yards.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. When people see 127, when his median's 192.
Yes.
And if I took off 20 yards off the median of what Penn State's done this year, it'd be 172. But remember, they've had 2 weeks to prepare, and they are the best defense that they've seen. And it is it's a neutral game, but it's going to be a tough one. And it's in Phoenix. They're playing in Phoenix.
And both of these teams are undefeated in the Fiesta Bowl. So just a fun little stat there. But we do have Boise, who is 3-0 in those games. And I can't remember. Penn State had a lot more wins than that, but 7-0.
I think Drew Aller's the better quarterback. I'm not sure if Maddox Madsen has a chance at the NFL, but obviously it's reflected in the line by Penn State being, that big of a favorite. Again, Penn State better offensively, defensively, and overall as a team, and that's why they're a 10-point favorite. But yeah, I like it under. I'm looking at Michigan up 13-0 already. Alabama obviously not prepared. Upset that they're not in the national championship picture. This team did not prepare to play this football game today.
I was going to bring that up. Where are they mentally? They were, right before SMU kept that game close against Clemson, it looked like Clemson was going to run away with that.
Yeah.
Alabama would have been in.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. It must be turnovers right away because every time I look up Michigan scoring, they've kicked 2 field goals and now punched a touchdown in the first quarter. And now maybe there's another unbelievable. I'm going to lose this under bet because of turnovers once again. Game's got no shot to go.
Ooh.
Under the total.
13 already in that first quarter. Let's do some hockey before we take a quick break and then touch on the other 3 games. But a lot of games on the board today. Washington's up first. We got our hockey graphic coming up.
I gave you the hockey sheet already. I'm glad I did because at least we'll have one.
Well, you can actually use this one if you would like.
No, that's okay.
Because I can pull it up.
I can go. I want you to see the notes. All I do is when I see something that you may not mention. There it is. Tuesday the 31st, NHL hockey.
So Alex Ovechkin is back. He has played in 2 games, and he has already scored 1 goal in one of those games. He is just 25 away from Gretzky's record. Got to keep an eye on that. Boston Bruins, Washington Capitals today. 2 really good goalies here. Jeremy Swayman and Logan Thompson on the other side. I think you could make the argument Logan Thompson has been their best goalie, just a 2.38 goals against average for him. Washington 6-4 in their last 10. The Bruins getting better, 6-3-1, but they are just 8-8-2 on the road, and the Caps have been very good at home this year, 11-4-2.
This game's ready to start right now. South Point open $1.30. Bet up to 45 with Ovechkin back. I could see it. I like Washington.
Lean to Washington, pretty much where we have that number as well, though.
My games must be out of order. I've got New York Islanders and Toronto next, and I don't see that. Oh, there it is right there. Oh, that's because the other game just dropped to the bottom. Here at the South Point.
Did start.
Toronto, and this starts in a half an hour. Toronto, $1.40. Has not moved, total of 6.
I actually have Toronto $2 favorite here at home. So let's take a look at some of these notes. The Islanders are just 7-8-5 on the road this year. They're 5-5 in their last 10. The Leafs on the other side, 14-7 at home. Sorokin, good goalie, not having his best season though. On the flip side, Joseph Wall, not as good as Stolarz, who has been out with an injury, but Joseph Wall, 2.58 goals against average. I do like the Leafs here in this one. I think that's a good price for them at -140.
It hasn't moved. Moving to the Montreal at the Golden Knights.
Oh, if that is 6, that's a good underplay too. Maybe that's the way we want to take it.
Toronto has gone over 7 straight games.
Woo.
And 4 on the road, 4 straight at home. So they are scoring some goals. I think you make an adjustment there, but I think you're better off just betting Toronto in that game with your difference. The Golden Knights at home hosting Montreal. Here at the South Point, Golden Knights 240 and 6 over 20, bet up to 6.5.
I think both of those numbers are right. I do have Vegas -275 though, and 6.5 over -120. So is that a little bit?
Golden Knights are playing good. 6 straight wins. I would adjust to make, add 30 cents. You're at 307. You have a 60-cent difference.
6 straight wins, and they're 9-1 in their last 10. So 15-3 at home this year.
And you get a shutout from the backup goalie.
Yes.
Samsonov. So your number one guy, Aiden Hill, he's going to be ready. He got, showed up a little bit by the backup. They played really good defense the other night against Calgary, and they just look like they're clicking on all cylinders. They're healthy, number one team at home. I think it's a good spot for, and Montreal just came from Florida. I think they were in Florida. They played Tampa the other night. So that's a long flight.
2. And they have 2 wins too. They are coming off of 2 good road wins.
When I saw they beat Tampa, I was wondering, I was there one time, Brian Blessing and I were there for the Super Bowl, and we went to the hockey game, and it was Tampa hosting Montreal. The entire lower dome was Montreal fans. They came for the winter, and they were going to Tampa to get out of the snow and watch their team play, and they bought every ticket in the lower bowl.
Wow.
It was so loud, and it was a Montreal crowd. And Montreal won that day, and they just won the other day. But now they had to fly all the way from Florida to Vegas, which isn't too bad for them because they fly first class. But it's still travel, and they are coming off 2 wins, and maybe their fans all were at that game again.
Puck line, +110?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind it. They're covering numbers, so yeah.
Yes, since Mark Stone back. But
here's your outdoor game, Wrigley
yes,
Field.
Yes, it is. We've got
St. Louis Blues and Chicago Blackhawks here at the South Point. The Blues $1.40, 5.5 under 15.
Winter Classic. You say at Wrigley? Is that right? Yeah.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Yes, I actually have Chicago. I have this game at Pick'em. I think these two are pretty even here. I made the game 4.5 though over -125. So this would be a dead under for me. The Blues are 28th in goals for at 2.61, tied at 14th for goals against at 3. And then we've got the Blackhawks here are 30th in goals for, and they're tied at 26 for goals against. So they give up a little bit more. That could be why the Blues are a little bit of a favorite here, but I like under 5.5.
That might make my board. 2 good goalies. You're right about that. We're going to move along quickly. Philadelphia opened $1.65. No movement. 6 over 20 at San Jose.
Flyers 145. Not enough there. 6.5 for the total. It has moved down to 6 here, but
So nothing much for you there.
I mean, both of them do give up a lot. We've got the Flyers 31st in goals against, 3.62. Urson, 3.14 goals against average. Then we've got the Sharks 29th in goals against at 3.54. So lean to the over there at 6.
Nashville playing
Could have a tie.
back-to-back. They're at Minnesota. Minnesota here at the South Point open $1.60. Guess what? Money for Nashville down to $1.25. Somebody just wants to keep betting Nashville. 5.5 over a quarter.
Give me Minnesota minus 125. I made that minus 180. I'm going to mess up his name. I always do. But Philip Gustafson, he is back officially. He just had a game 2 nights ago. They did end up losing that one to Ottawa. I think they'll be ready to play here at home. And like you said, back-to-back for the Preds. That'll make my board for sure.
We beat Nashville yesterday. Might as well go back against them today. 3-game losing streak for them. Carolina on the road. 230 favorite open to the South Point, has not moved, 6.5 under 20.
I've got a lean here to the Blue Jackets. I've got Carolina minus 186. They have won 3 home games
In a row.
And they're much better at home. 11-4-3 at home.
Wow.
With a losing overall record. They're 15-16-6 overall, but 11-4-3 at home. Carolina's been bad on the road too. 8-9-1. So 8-10. I'll take a shot.
Plus $2.
With the Blue Jackets here in this one.
New Jersey at Anaheim. New Jersey open 250, bet up to 270. 6 over, bet up to 6.5 under 15.
New Jersey finally lost 2, but they have been on a run here. I'm okay with that number. I've got it 245, but I've got 5.5 in this total. Let's check on that. The Devils 8th in goals for, 2nd in goals against, though, at 2.51. Looking at the Ducks, 31st in goals for, scoring just an average of 2.46 per game. They're tied for 17th in goals against, so they've been playing better defense. A little bit of revenge. No, the Devils won at home, so no revenge there. But John Gibson, let's check out his numbers, 2.93 goals against average and a 906 save percentage. So I'll go under 6.5 in that one between those two.
That went up. So yeah, getting a little bit of a bargain there at 6.5. Pittsburgh at Detroit. Detroit opened here at the South Point $1.15 up to $1.20. 6.5 under is now 6 over 15. So some under money.
That one's right there. Detroit minus 124 and 6.5 under minus 115.
Buffalo at Dallas. Dallas opened 210, no movement, 6 over 15, now 6 over 20.
Little bit to the Stars. I've got a minus 230, but Buffalo's won 3 in a row after that crazy losing streak. So the break really helped them.
They turned it around, yeah.
They turned it around. I'm going to stay away from that one.
What did they lose, 11 in a row? Was it 11 or 12 in a row?
I think it was 13.
13. Now they've won 3 straight.
And scoring a lot. They put up a lot of goals the last 3 games.
Yep, over 3 straight overs. We never like to go over, though, with Dallas. Winnipeg, after their win last night against Nashville, on the road at Colorado. This game opened up $1.70 at the South Point. Money for Colorado up to 185. 6 over 15 up to 6 over 25 because you're going to have the backup goalie in net for Winnipeg.
That's right. I do have to add in some here for Colorado. Against Winnipeg on the back-to-back. But Colorado, both of these guys have a nice little win streak here. Colorado 4 in a row and 2 at home. So I understand that movement. Nothing there. A little bit to the over, though.
Yeah, the money's coming in over. That's for sure.
2 more here.
Yep, 2 more. Finish it up. Vancouver at Calgary. Calgary minus 110 up to 115, 5.5 over.
If you're going to bet the Flames, make sure it is when they are at home. Much better. They're 12-4-3 on the year at home. So I do have them minus 112, pretty much right there, and 5.5.
That's a big rivalry between those two teams. They're pretty close, and being Canadian teams in proximity in same division. I believe they're same division. Utah's at Edmonton tonight. Edmonton opened up 220 down to 210, 6.5 under to 6.5 over 15. Utah played last night in Seattle.
I was surprised to see Edmonton in their last 10. They are 7-2-1, but they have lost 2 in a row. So it seems like whenever I'm tracking them, they are on the losing side and by a very small margin. I'm a little bit lower on them. I'm a minus 198. Nothing to really jump in on the dog here in this one. And I think the total at 6.5 is correct as well. It did open 6, and now it has been bet up.
This number is going to drop below your number, 198. Yeah, Edmonton's going to close under $1.90.
Wow, it is moving, yeah.
So that's it for NHL.
Utah much better on the road, 11-7-2. So,
But again, playing back-to-back.
Again, playing back-to-back, though. All right, well, let's take a quick break. When we get back, we'll quickly get your thoughts on those 3 games. Okay. Just maybe even just tell us what your number is compared to what the number is, and then we will bring in our guest, Vegas Maddie, to get us up to date on all of the contest here in Las Vegas. We'll be right back. 1 minute. Don't go anywhere here on Sports by the Book.
Get ready to laugh with Punchlines with Frank Nicotero. Join Frank and his team of featured guests for your daily dose of comedy.
Reno, the Pittsburgh of the West.
Poison.
Yeah.
Poison.
Sports.
F for Falcons, Alex. We were talking Derek Carr for MVP after 2 games.
Who's we?
Okay, me. I was.
And the funniest social media posts.
People want to show off their food. Boom. Wiener on a guy's shoulder. It's our Colts. We bleed blue.
It's your one-stop spot for great laughs and a good time. Find us on YouTube at Punchlines FN. And join the chat live weekdays at noon Pacific for the ultimate blend of jokes, sports, and viral fun.
We have 11 amazing restaurants featuring a wide variety for every price range and appetite. South Point's Garden Buffet has something for everyone at unbeatable prices. Or if hunger strikes in the middle of the night, join us at Coronado Cafe. The American menu offers breakfast, lunch, or dinner 24 hours a day, plus a Chinese kitchen for authentic Chinese dishes from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. From steak and eggs to wonton soup, it's fast and friendly service 24/7. When you need a quick pick-me-up, you can find it at our state-of-the-art Starbucks just inside the main South Point entrance. Order ahead with the Starbucks app for easy mobile order pickups. Or enjoy your favorites in the relaxing dining area anytime, day or night. If you love Mexican food, Baja Miguel's has all of your south-of-the-border favorites. There are dozens of classics to choose from, like fajitas, ceviche, chimichangas, tacos, and more. And for spirit lovers, Baja's colorful non-smoking tequila bar is right outside.
Welcome back, everybody. Thanks so much for being here with us today on New Year's Eve, our final Tuesday of the year. I will be back tomorrow, 9 a.m. with Jeff Parles to go over the 3 other playoff games, and that is where we are going to start right now. I am going to check in with the chat while we are doing this as well. Alex White, Kenny White alongside, and we will bring our guest in shortly. Just want to get your numbers here on these final 3 games, and if you have already bet anything in them. But we've got Texas and Arizona. Texas, this is down to 12 now. 12.5 here at the South Point. Was 13.5 for most of the past weekend. Total 51.5 in this one.
Yeah, I can see that. I only made the game 9. Total, I made 51, but I took a touchdown off because they're so meaningful. So 44, I did go under in that football game, under 51.5.
Under 51.5 for you in that one. Ohio State and Oregon, this one I'm really curious to hear your total in. So Ohio State is the favorite, 2.5 now here at the South Point, and the total is 55.
I'll look to take 3. I made Oregon 2, total of 63.5. Minus 7 is 56.5, but that number is pretty much right there. It's 55.5 in the market. So that's the one game I'm not going to bet under.
Okay, but not over either.
No, not betting it under, but I'm going to look to take 3 with Oregon.
Okay, Notre Dame and Georgia. This game is a pick here at the South Point. Now, Georgia did open up a small favorite, even without Carson Beck. Total 45.
With the adjustment, I still have Georgia 1.5 and 50. Take a touchdown off, I make it 43, but I think 43 is too high in this game. Both really good defenses. I think that both coaches will be conservative with their quarterback play, and I think they're both going to struggle to score. I think this is a field goal game, so I do like it under. It's up to 45.5. I'm going to wait and try to get the highest number I can.
Field goal game. I like the sound of that. I am on that under as well, actually at 44.5. So good on you for waiting in that one. Checking in with the chat, Dean Hilt, Vince, Bob Custer, Trotter Sports, Vicarious Vegas, Keith Lyle, Dean Hilt, A Gold, JR, all of our regulars. We appreciate you guys all joining us here on New Year's Eve. Let's bring him in, our guest, Vegas Maddie Proxy here. And if you want to check out his site, it is
footballcontest.com.
There it is, right there on our lower third. Maddie, how are you doing? How has the season been for you?
Pretty good. Happy New Year.
Yes.
And just want to give a shout out to Jeremy Widener for winning the Beat Vegas Maddie Fantasy Football League. He caught fire at the right time.
Yes.
Too much for me to overcome yesterday. He had Gibbs and Goff going against me. I only had Laporta, and I only had like a 4 or 5 point lead, so he buried me. And I ended up finishing second, though, which is not bad considering I started 1-5. So not too shabby. And you did very well, too. You won the regular season championship, so you got a little prize money for that. And now it's on to the contest and the real big money. So we're going to see what happens. There's only 18 survivors left in the Circus Survivor contest. We have one of them, so we're happy to have one of those guys.
Awesome.
Yeah, we had unfortunately we had 5 guys on the Colts last week.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, that was tough. I actually reached out to each and every one of them when I found out Anthony Richardson wasn't going to play because they had all sent their picks to me, and just want to check in and make sure they were 100% locked in. The unanimous answer was pretty much, Flacco is not an upgrade or not a downgrade. Kenny, you could probably speak to that a little bit, but Anthony Richardson kind of bowing out in that game. I don't know what his future holds, but yeah, Flacco, I mean, he did what he could, but he's still 40 years old almost. So it's kind of hard. The Giants played like they were playing the Super Bowl.
Yeah, they did.
But they didn't want that number 1 pick. So that was a little surprising as well. But that's part of our job is to just make sure. I think that injury, and then also there was one other quarterback. The Tua news with the Dolphins, who still cover the spread pretty easily. But yeah, we had a few people that want to change their picks, both on that and the other one. And that's the thing is like we try to accommodate people with that. With the survivor picks, we held those back as long as possible until they were 100% sure, and guys still hedged out, I think, and made some money.
Yeah.
Now you get the Circa Million too. It's very competitive. So fighting for that $1 million. There's, I think, 7 contestants that were within 2 points of each other in the Circa Million, and in the Super Contest, I think it's the top 9 are all within two points of each other. So it's going to be, to me, to be honest, like I think this is the most competitive I've seen these contests, like going into the last week ever. And a lot of people were happy with the Lions result last night. So that was the most popular consensus pick of the week.
Wow.
There were over 2,000 entries that had the Lions, which is over a third of the entries. And if you go look at the top 10, or actually top 25 in the Circa Million, 12 of the entries had the Lions last night. So if they don't cover, that affects the standings pretty significantly. And I was surprised for a Week 17 game that was extremely popular, like to that degree. Week 18, I think that Lions-Vikings Sunday night game, which traditionally is one of the most popular plays every season, just because people want that last game out. If they want to hedge, they can look at the standings, see what it's up to. We actually had a guy leading the Circa Million 2 years ago, and he had the Packers on that Sunday night game, and 2 guys had the Lions. That was kind of like the start of the Lions becoming a Super Bowl contender. They knocked off the Packers at Lambeau Field, and 2 guys jumped him and he ended up finishing third. So he went from the $1 million to, he still had a $400,000 that he made, but that game alone was a difference between finishing first and third.
As a proxy, give us a history and an update on your end of it. Mm-hmm. That you're, I don't know. I know a little bit to be dangerous. Obviously, you charge us an entry fee, but it used to be a percentage of what you won. I don't know if it's that way anymore.
Yeah, we just, we're happy with whatever tips guys want to throw our way at the end. A lot of people out there might not realize that it's pretty customary to give your proxy a tip at the end of the year based on your winnings. We just kind of, again, we're happy with what we get. We've had situations where guys won money and not tipped us, and other situations where people will tip us up like 10%, and they consider us like partners in their entry. So it goes both ways with it. And that's one of those things we consider ourselves kind of in the service industry in Las Vegas. We do charge the set fee, but yeah, anything on top of that is we're always grateful for that. So,
how many years have you been doing this now?
This is our 16th year. So we've had, we're still looking for that Circa Million winner. We've got some guys in contention. I think 3 in the top 7 or something like that are going for that prize. Love to put that on the resume. We've had 3 Super Contest winners, 3 Super Contest Gold winners. So yeah, and Survivor, it's another thing. We're hoping our guy can bring it home with his pick this week. There's some good picks out there. I think they had discussed possibly doing a chop with the 18, but it wasn't unanimous. So they kind of dialed that back. And
what would the number be?
I think it's like $800,000, somewhere around there a piece. Because $14.2 million in the pool divided by 18, whatever that is off the top of my head, I'm not sure.
What was it going into last week?
It doubled basically, so it was like 420,000, somewhere around there.
Had five.
We had 6 going into last week, and then lost 5 of them. Yeah, five on the Colts, and that one stung.
That's $2
a little
million.
Bit. I know, man.
Did you hedge really personally yourself?
I did.
You did?
I did, yeah. Because I was just, just a little bit of money just because I was like, this is a big game going into this. And you try to bring those guys home as best you can. And yeah, I mean, I know some of our clients that had them, they did the right thing and they hedged as well.
You have to.
Circa does a good job of providing casino credits so guys can come into town and do that. And they also offer tie props, which is interesting. So for people who don't know, the Circa Survivor contest, if there's a tie, it counts as a loss.
Yeah.
So it's very rare. It happens like once every couple of years, but it's happened. And like they give you pretty good odds on that. So it's like you might get 50, 60 to 1 that it happens. And there's a very small chance that it happens, but
insurance policy.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see what happens. I know our guy that's live is going to be hedging on that pick, but there's good picks available for some people, like the Bucks and the Falcons. I think are 2 teams that are playing in the early games on Sunday, and I
would love to have either of those 2 teams.
Yeah, either of those 2 teams left. I mean, the Bucks especially.
So this is it this week. Obviously,
this is it. Yeah,
just
whoever
1 week and 18 people, or there's probably going to be a tie.
Yeah, most likely. I mean, I would be
winner.
surprised if I haven't seen like if anybody has terrible teams. Like you'd hate to have like the Panthers or the Raiders or something like that. But I'm pretty sure almost everyone has a decent team going in. I thought the Colts were going to be a great play either last week or this week because they play the Jaguars.
Yeah.
So I know almost everybody who didn't take the Colts last week. There were 16 that had Colts overall last week. They could take them this week, but man, I don't know if I would trust them at this point. That's a really tough call.
Now, 18 going into the final week, that's a lot more than there were last year, right?
Yes. It's the most there's been in a long time. Normally, I think there's like 4 or 5, something like that. There's never been a solo winner. The first year there were 35 that tied, and we had 13 of them as our clients. They each won $70,000 each. So this is definitely a giant jump up. You're talking more than 10 times. In terms of what they can win. And it'll be interesting to see if there are any upsets at all. I mean,
surprised it doesn't go to the playoffs when you can wipe the slate clean.
Yeah.
Any playoff team, but you have to pick each week of the playoffs.
We need some time off, Kenny, too. So.
It's only 1 more month. Come on.
Yeah, 1 more month. And then we got to get ready for signups again. But yeah, and for those people who are interested, the Circa Million and the Survivor, they start taking entries again end of May, like right before Memorial Day weekend. So if you are interested, reach out to us. Proxy at footballcontestproxy.com. We're at Football Contest on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. Send us a DM. But yeah, send us an email and we'll provide you all the details on signups. But you could start signing up that early.
Wow.
The pool's going to be even bigger next year. The guarantee, I'm sure, will be like $16 million at least. Derek Stevens likes to push that every year, a couple $1 million. So I'm sure it'll be more than that. And it'll be interesting to see. The Circa Million has stayed at $6 million guaranteed for the last 2 or 3 years because they haven't hit that number yet. There's been a little bit of an overlay, but yeah, they still got to hit that one of these years.
So you can sign up super early, plan your Vegas trip, get out here, and then for anybody who doesn't know, as long as they come and sign up in person, then if they sign up with
that's the proxy is the one who puts in the picks for you. You need somebody in Nevada to do that for you, whether it's on the app or we physically will go into the sports book and put in all the tickets so we can double check everything and make sure everything's 100% accurate. So But you have to have somebody on the ground in Vegas to do that for you to participate. And all you need to do is get to Vegas sometime between like end of May and kickoff of the 2025 season to get rolling.
How's the Golden Nugget? Is this the final week for that one as well?
Yes, final week for the Nugget is.
Do you have anybody at
you know,
the top?
we're banking on having you up there, but we had like a couple people that were kind of like top 20 range. But the tough part about that contest is it only pays the top 20,
right?
And then 11 through 20 basically just get their money back. And all these contests in Vegas are $1,000 entry fees. So with the Nugget, you want to finish in the top 10 because you work your butt off all season. To me, it's the hardest contest because you're figuring college and pro games every week, and you have to pick 7 versus 5. And to win that contest is really difficult. It's a lot of work, as you guys know. I mean, you've been doing it for years, and it's a bummer to like work that hard and then maybe you finish 11th and only get $1,000 back.
That happened to us last year.
Yeah.
We're in top 20.
So I really want them to kind of try to push that. It seems like they've kind of been scaling back. Same with the Super Contest. Those are contests that have traditionally been pretty strong in Vegas, but Circa is just taken over as kind of the kings of the contests in town. And the Nugget and the Super Contest, I'd like to see them do some maybe more creative things. That would be my resolution for next year for them, is to kind of get those to grow, do some things a little differently. Well, the Golden Nugget too, you can't submit picks on the app. So I've told them, to be able to have to go down there every week and put them over the counter when there's only maybe one teller working and you have to wait in line. It's hard to overly promote that one to get people in it. But, for a few years they had it on the app, and we'd have like close to 100 people in there, and it was,
much more popular.
It was a little better.
Yeah.
And you had more prize money. That's the thing too. The more people, the more prize money. You'd like to see the winner get at least 6 figures if possible. And it's been a few years since that's happened.
I saw a professional sports bettor, Paul Stone. He had a nice tweet going around about asking for somebody to do a full college football pick 'em. And he jumped us in the Golden Nugget, so we are rooting for him. I hope he can push up there and get in that top 10. Yeah,
the Westgate. I mean, they're looking to make some changes now with John Murray leading the way there, and I've talked to John about possibly doing a college contest, and hopefully everyone listening and Paul could get on board with that. But I think they're the most logical choice because they need to kind of make people come in to do something besides the Super Contest.
Right.
Super Contest entries have been going down the last few years, and I told John about a month ago, I said, hey, if you have a college contest, the only college contest in town, you're going to bring people in, just like Circa when they started and they had the Survivor Contest. People went there to do the Survivor Contest, and then they added a million entry because they were there to do it instead of doing the Super Contest. So if you have a college contest, you're going to the Westgate Superbook to sign up for that, and then you go, hey, I'll do the Super Contest as well. And I think it's a good way to kind of bring more people into the book, and they'll do multiple contests that way. So it's work for Circa. It's a good example to follow for that.
It is. That happened to us. We went to go sign up for Survivor, and we ended up with Circa Millions too.
Yeah.
So,
makes sense,
a good point there. Thank you. We appreciate you stopping in all season to give us the updates and helping us out when we needed it for a Golden Nugget.
Of course.
Make sure you visit that, footballcontest.com. Get started as early as possible so we aren't stressing him out at the end of August. Let's
we
spread
get a
it
few
out.
weeks off and enjoy the Super Bowl, and then a couple months before we have to worry about getting people signed up again. But look, we're very blessed to be doing this for so long, and we love doing it. We love all the success stories over the years, and we're hoping to have a few more. I think for the check ceremonies at Circa is going to be January 10th, Friday night, and hope to see a lot of our clients there cashing some big checks.
I believe you said Syracuse is your team.
Yeah.
Is there a game you're looking forward to, though, these next 2 days in college football?
I don't know. Just try to watch some of the playoff games. I enjoyed the bowl win. It was kind of a disappointment for Washington State to see like half their team not there and their coach and stuff. But they put up a good fight. I was happy for Coach Fran Brown to bring that program back because like UNLV, it's like the NIL stuff really helped them. He brought in, I think, like between recruits and transfers, like 50 new players. So they're going to lose McCord, obviously, and their running back, LaQuinn Allen, who I think is really good. He's got another year of eligibility, but he'll probably go to the NFL as well. But I think the whole NIL thing has changed college football forever. It's going to be interesting to see kind of what happens, especially with Belichick now and at North Carolina and some of these other programs, maybe hiring some big time coaches that used to be in the pros to run the programs.
That's
Free
interesting.
agency. The quarterback for Washington State who didn't play all year, was a Bryant transfer. And after he had a great game, threw for 380 yards, he's in the transfer portal now. So Washington State loses him as well.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's wild. But yeah, I am looking forward to the FCS championship game, Montana State what's South Dakota State?
South Dakota.
Yeah,
No,
or North Dakota. North Dakota
State.
upset them.
Yeah,
I was very
State,
surprised that because I've been following that pretty closely. We've got a good friend who goes to Montana State, and for her first year there, so we've been following them. She's been a good luck charm, I think, so far.
They've had a great year.
Yeah, great year. So I'm looking forward to that game. I think it's on January 6th, Monday night. So
Montana
we'll see
State
what happens.
The favorite. I think they're 3.5.
Yeah, pretty small.
56.
And yeah, keep an eye on that Lions-Vikings game. I think Circa's got 2.5 for the point spread right now, and I'll be very surprised if that doesn't stay on 3 for the contest lines this week, because that is going to be the most popular game on the board. People and if you're down a point or you need to make up some ground, you might want to look at taking the Vikings. That's going to be an interesting play to see how those picks shake out on this weekend.
Very interesting. Jeff and I will have to give an update on Saturday or Sunday after we know all of the picks, I guess Sunday morning before week 18. But let's go through our boards quickly before we get out of here. We are over just a little bit. You got a few plays.
I have a ton of plays.
Okay.
6 plays today. All the bowl games. Louisville over. I can't even see.
Illinois
over 50.
Illinois over 50. The LSU game over 62.5 bowl games. Let's have fun and let's score points. But the college football playoff game I like under Boise State, under tonight with Penn State, under 54.5. Then 2 NHL plays from Alex. Chicago, the outdoor game, under 5.5. And then Minnesota -20. I'm going to continue to bet against Nashville. I don't know who's betting on them, but I'm betting against them.
Yes, I am as well. I have the Wild. Oh, you got a better number than me. I have the Wild -125. I also have an under. It is with New Jersey and the Ducks, under 6.5. And I'm going to take a shot here on the Columbus Blue Jackets at 2-1. They are better at home. The Canes, not as good on the road. So there's mine. I also like that under in Boise State and Penn State. So I'll throw that on my board as well. But that's it for us for today. Maddie, thank you so much again for stopping in to see us. Dad, thank
Matt,
you.
Happy New Year.
Yeah,
Happy New Year, everybody. Chris Andrews is in here as well,
Be safe.
waiting to chat with us. Thank you, everybody behind the glass. Andrew, Ryan, and Vince, we appreciate you. Thank you, everybody in the chat. And Vince brought up nights at noon. Jeremy is actually in here. Sassy on Sunday.
Nice, sassy on Sunday, yeah.
In the chat. Congratulations. Very good. We knew I was going to lose after I won the regular season. That's how it goes.
That's tough.
Yep, that's fantasy football. Thank you, everybody. Have a great and safe New Year's Eve. I'll see you again tomorrow here on Sports by the Book.